So this is my first YouTube video. I'm Tori. I am a professional balloon artist. I've had my own business for the last few years, and now I think it's time to pass on my wisdom and teach anybody that wants to know how to make balloons, where to start, what you're going to need, and then gradually the more videos I do, the more skills you'll pick up. But today we are going to start with a balloon stack. Okay, so you're going to need 12-inch balloons. My favourite brand is Sempertex, but there's Calisan, Tuftex, Gemma, all incredible. I've just got a soft spot for Sempertex, so predominantly that is what I'm going to be using today. So you need 12-inch balloons, and we will also need some 5-inch balloons. We're going to do a dinosaur theme. Okay, so what we'll do first is start with, we need 12 12-inch balloons. So we're going to start with that first, and we'll get them blown up to size. So you will need either a hand pump or an electric pump. I'm going to use my electric pump. In the beginning I did use a hand pump. Equally, you can get a less major version of this from Amazon for about £20, usually pink. I'll put a link in the chat below. And you will need a balloon sizer. This comes as a cube, or it's meant to be connected to make a cube, but for storage I find it easy to just pull out the pieces that I need. I'll also link in where you can buy your balloon sizer for, because particularly with stacks, you need the balloons to be the correct size so you don't end up with a wonky balloon stack. Okay, all right, let's fire away. So first thing we're going to do, I don't know if I mentioned, we're going to do dinosaur themes. It's very much like greens, greys, browns, terracotta colour. So we'll start by blowing up two and fastening them together. Now I always over inflate my balloons, so they end up looking a little bit like a teardrop shape, but by using me, which does look ridiculous, I will shorten them down and then I'll take my sizer. Okay, we want to be measuring them, I think, to about 7-inch, which is marked, can you see it there, 7-inch. So what you're doing is you're pushing your balloon through, so that's the perfect size. And this one again, this one's a little bit too big, so you just release some air and grip back on, and then once it drags on the side, you know then you're roughly working at the same size. What you want to be doing is tying neck to neck, so I want to try and show you. Just cross the necks over tightly, flip the balloon across, and then do a knot as if you were doing a knot on your shoe. Just one, you don't need to double knot it, and they should sit neatly together. So we're going to repeat that process. We use a cream one and a brown one. So again, blow them up. If you do get the, mine's pedal operated, is my pump. But the pink one that I'm referencing online, which is much cheaper, but still does the same job. Mine's just better for double stuffed ones, but we'll move on to double stuffed way down the line. The pink one, you don't use a pedal, you just put, when you push the balloon on, it activates the machine. So by you just pushing on the ends, that's how the air will come out. So again, just release some. So you want to get them nice and round, so they look like bowling balls rather than pear-shaped or teardrop shaped. Again, got the sizer. Yeah, going to go through the 7-inch again. That's now fitting perfectly. And again, this one's a bit too big, so just release. Oh, let out too much now, let's put a bit more. Oh, I think I did it again. Oh no, that's about right. Same process, which is cross them over. Actually, it's quite an easy way to do it, and then you've got your cross already. And just tie it off. Okay. And there you have your two balloons. You'll hear the dog in the background. This is very much a working house. The dog's here. Yes, I know the postman's been. The kids are out though, so we're going to repeat this process until we have. Oh, hang on, it's a bit of strawberry on there. Don't know where that's come from. Until we have three enough to do 3 quads. Okay, so bear with. We will carry on, keep going, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Again, use your sizer. That was fluke that fit. I'm glad it did. And then this one is definitely going to be a bit too big. You see? No, should go through fairly comfortably. Sorry, the low battery thing came on. So, right again. So we've got the balloons. We're going to cross that, and then we'll cross our bodies. Pull your necks like this. Whip it round once. Tie it in a knot. You got it. Okay. If along the way you've got any questions, send me a message on either Instagram at Occasions by Tori or on here. Yeah, once you subscribe, you'll be able to pop some messages in the chat. As soon as I see them, I'll get back to you. Anything that you need covering again, I'll do my best to either do another video or personally give you a hand. So again, we'll cross them across us like that. Yeah, can you see? Wrap it round and then just tie it off. There. I know I could fast forward this bit, but do you know what? It'll take you more than once to get the knack of it. When I first started, I used to do 1 balloon at once. It is an option. I'll show you that. So you just get your 1 balloon. Still get your number 7. Where is it? There. Go through there. And then just because it takes a while to get used to the technique, just tie it off like you would do. Yeah, you got 1. Oh, the only thing is it's time consuming because you're going to end up tying 3 knots because you'll do that one. Wait the next one. We'll go through your number 7 again. Yeah. You can tie that one off. So you're confident you've got 2 of the same size balloons. See? And then tie them together. It's the way I did it for ages. And it's probably the way you might find it easier to do when you're getting started. But once you're making loads of these, if you end up making loads of these, it's just time consuming. You find quicker ways to speed up. And then let me see, I'm done. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 2 more. I'm going to go back to doing my speedier way, but you get the gist. I hope you do anyway. So again, not enough air in that one. That's through the number 7. I think that might need a little bit more. Tie them off. And that is stage 1 done. Alright, let me move my size because we won't need that again now. Oh, certainly won't need it for a while. This hasn't been made for anybody in particular. This has just been made for the purpose of doing this tutorial. Okay, so now what we're going to do is get you 2. Yeah, it doesn't matter which 2. Certainly doesn't in the case of mine because I'm making it just for you to show you. You want to push the middle of this there, where this bit is, that bit, into the middle of this bit there. Yeah. So, can you see? And then you just want to tie 2, just wrap 2 balloons around each other a couple of times until you get that. That's the base then. And because your balloons are the right size, it will sit flat. I'm just trying to see if I can show you. But you can see there's no wobble to it. It's like, it's flat, okay? That process you will repeat again. So grab 2 and grab 2. Again, just pull them apart so you can see what you're doing. Push them in, and these two, the cream and the grey, wrap them around on another couple of times. Yeah. And then we're going to do that process for a third time. Hang on, I need to reach right across. Okay, again. Just open up a little bit so you can see what you're doing. You always open them up, you'll get to a point where you'll just do it with your eyes shut, but for this, ooh, hang on. Open it up, push it together, and then twiddle. In this case, twiddling them two a couple of times, wrap it around itself. So you've got 3 lots. Now, this next stage, there's many a technique that you can use. One is fishing wire. I don't like fishing wire. I just think it's just not a great product. But it's one that some people do use. Another is to tie it together using, I call them Suzy Q's, but they're not called that. They're called 260s, which is like a clown modelling balloon. Very stretchy and easy to use. My go-to technique, because you have to buy these like separate, and also you end up using lots of these. My go-to technique is tying the neck, so this bit to the neck of this bit. Okay, but before we get to that, we are going to need a 260. Don't get the bigger ones, 260. They're the size you need for doing this, and we need a weight. Here we go. Just a normal, like 23 pence weight, depends where you get them from, but, and then rather than going through the designated hole, because that'll make it hang and a bit wobbly, I tie it round this bit where the foil is, you know, like where the twiddly bit is holding this foil cover on. Just move that out of the way. This is just going to weigh the display down, so just normal tie, pull it round the neck and double knot it on tight. You would have to really try to snap a Suzy Q when doing this process. So it's on nice and tight. Yeah, it's not going anywhere. The technique now is grab whichever's going to be your base one. This is going to be the bottom. And we're just going to grab either side of your 260 and push it into the base. Pull in your 2 threads through the top of this quad, and then tying it in a double knot. You want to do it fairly tight, just so it's not dangling and it's nice and secure. Again, not tight enough to break the 260, just tight enough that you think, yeah, okay, that's it. That makes sense? Okay. So, we'll go back to tying now. Tying this one, this quad, it's called a quad because there's 4. This quad to this quad. And what we're looking for is the necks. There's a neck. There's a neck. That's going to be tricky to show you, but I'm going to try my best. So, sometimes you have to do this by closing your eyes and imagining, you've got hold of it as if you're just tying a knot. That's how I do it on big displays. If I start to think I can't figure out where my hand is and what it's doing, is just think you do know it's a repetitive process. It's just a double knot. So you're going to pull this neck here, tight to this neck here, and put in a double knot. I'm going to try and show you the best I can. I wouldn't have this much space between them, but I'm just doing it so you can see. So look, can you see? So just, I've lost it. Right, so just over and tight, and then double it off with a knot, and there you will have the first piece to your balloons. These can be moved around, and that's the beauty of using the tie in the neck technique, is that, say you're like, oh no, I want that to be there and I want that to be there. If you do that with fishing wire, you're pretty locked in. This you've got quite a lot of movement. But equally, if you find, you know what, that wiggles around too much, just take another neck and go back in and find another neck underneath. You can even put, I mean, some of the necks are that long, you can pull them up and tie it, you know. Again, we're not tying it like we're trying to snap it. We're just tying it to hold it in place. Okay? Again, repetitive process. Let's get the third bit on. Soon you won't be able to see me, which is not a bad thing. Okay, so what we're thinking like. Okay, so again, we're looking for the neck. And again, finding the neck there, and we're just tying them together. So that's double knot on. I think it needs another knot because it's a bit wiggly, so find another one. Go back in, have a little peek, find another neck on the middle quad. Double knot. And there, move it back. You've got a base. Fairly straightforward, or I hope it was anyway. Alright, so what we need to think about now is detail. This is your hand pump. I don't know if you can get any more fancy than this. It's a Qualitex one. I think it's about, I don't know. I've no idea how much it costs, but we're talking £3 maybe. It might be less than that. I've got loads of these. I won't have, you know, bought loads willy-nilly if they were expensive. They're not, no. So, these can blow up to 5 inches. You don't want a big nasty balloon because if you tie that on here, it's going to stick out, and then all of a sudden you start to lose your gorgeous, perfectly sized balloons. I'm obsessed with these being quite small, so I would keep going until they were maybe that big. We find something to compare the size of that to. Okay. That's a teaspoon. I don't know if that's really going to help, really, but they're pretty tiny, maybe like 3 inches, I would have thought. So my way of doing it is I blow up 2 and tie together, but because you're a newbie, I'm going to tie them off individually. Tie that off. The idea is that perfectly round is what you want to do. When you see balloons done bad, is when they've made them like a pear. They think the more air, the better. But actually it's not. It's blow them past where you want them to be, pass around to get them to kind of, what's the right word? Expand, and then let the air out, and then it makes them harder to pop as well. If you'd pop that to full capacity, I could have popped that right now because they're just overstretched. You want to overstretch it and then let the air out, and then they'll sit perfectly. Like in fact, you know, I've got normal size hands, you know. Just like something that you could cup in your hand. Like a tennis ball, maybe a bit smaller. Okay, so do that with the next one. So we'll overinflate, like so. And then use one as your guide. And then we're just going to underinflate it. Actually, that one's ended up with like a bit of a nipple on the end. I've done that probably too small. Okay, so do this one, but we'll still use it roughly as a guide. There. These don't need to be exact, but you do want them to be close. I'm going to blow that up again. So if you did underinflate it, that can happen. End up like a little bit on the end. Okay, I'll do that one again. Just overinflate. Don't overinflate too much because that might have been the reason that the nipple came on the end. Right, that'll do. I'll tie that one off. Do a brown one. I think these are a different brand. These, I think these made by might be Gemma, these ones. But I buy all my balloons now from Shop Balloons in Leeds. You can utilise their online service and Balloons for You. Used to love Paul White's in Leeds, but it closed down, and then they moved I think it was bought out, and yeah, I'm just not a fan. So I stick with the places that, I think I popped that one. Yeah, definitely. Can you see how tiny that's gone now? That's no good. So just do another. Doing a couple of gold, reflex gold. Beautiful. Sempertex reflex gold, just gorgeous colours these. And then we'll just keep repeating this process until we've got a few. To add on our display. So what we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Brilliant. Okay, next job. Again, 260s. I will reference these by accident as Susie Q's. It was when I first started, I didn't know what they were called. So I just called it a Susie Q, and I just can't. I even sometimes find myself in like the warehouses going, oh, can I have some Susie Q's? And they're like, I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're called. So 260s. Right. So what I want to do now is I like to work in groups of 3. So we'll go with these 3 colours. So we're going to do it tie neck to neck again, just like you did on the big ones, on the quads. And then for the third one that you're adding in, I can't remember which one I said we're going to use. I just lean it in, pull the neck all the way around a couple of times, and then tie it to a different neck. So they're nice and tight. Yep. And then we'll do that again. Got these 2. Tight together. Oh, I nearly pulled my nail off there. And then this one again, so just push it in. See the neck? I'm going to go round, round, and then tie it off on one at the back. You'll find your own technique with that. This is just not tying. This is not rocket science. But you just want to make sure that they're tight enough that they sit pretty, but not too tight that they're struggling. Yeah, okay. And then we'll do, I'll just blow up a couple more. See what we've got out still. Do that and we'll stick a cream on there. Again, just a repeat of the process. Measure it, and then you want to get it so you're wrapping the neck round, finding another piece on the back, tying that in. You can double knot it. I used to double knot everything. You could probably single knot it, but we'll do double knots. Okay. Okay, so next process is to get these securely onto here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a Susie Q, told you, 260, and we're just going to take your quad, sneak it in between 2 of the balloons, so it's wrapped around the main knot in the middle. Oh God, sorry. Right, like that. And just, again, double knot. Your hands do feel it when you first start. You do think, gosh, my hands are a bit sore. But before, it's a bit like riding a bike. You know when you get saddle sore by riding a bike, you get sore bum? You just got to persevere with it. It passes. I've not had sore hands for years now. And we're doing the same process at the other end. Oh, trapped my nail again. Hang on. Because I need my Christmas nails. And they're ready for coming off, but I don't want them to come off mid-video. Okay, so you end up with this. The technique to put these on correctly is grab it in the middle, go through the middle, so you're just like chopping it in half with your finger, not literally, but holding it in the middle, yeah? So you create 2 lines. You're going to the middle, like that, wrapping it round one of the balloons. Hang on, I did that wrong. Let's do that again. So I'm doing it the opposite way around how I would do it. So you go round that balloon, cross them over, and then wrap until you get them to where you want them to sit. If you end up where it's quite baggy and you think, oh, it's not tight enough, it's not sitting, just keep wrapping. Just wrap it round. Does that make sense so far?